So when you're doing communication to your market, what exactly are you trying to do with them? Hi, I'm Eldrick Nikitoya. Thank you for joining me in this video. There are 6 different phases, if you will, of the customer journey. And each phase represents familiarity, it represents willingness to spend. So the first phase is a default phase. You and I, we all go through this. The only people who can be exempted from this prior to launch are probably the founders or the inventors. The first phase or the index phase or this initial phase, unawareness. Basically, it means either I don't know your product, I don't know you, I don't know what you can do. Basically, I don't know. That's the full spectrum. Okay, I don't know anything about you, and I'm sure you yourself experience that. I mean, let's do a simple test. Picture your supermarket or your convenience store. Can you recall, can you name everything there? Chances are, unless you work in a retail space, you can't remember everything there. I mean, you can remember sugar, your flour, you can remember detergent and all the stuff, but what brands? Okay. Then, to break this phase, to bring your target audience from this phase into the next phase, which is awareness, you can deploy advertising. You can deploy publicity. You can deploy events and promotion. Right? So you're trying to get people from the state of not knowing, what complete unawareness, to a form of awareness. A form of awareness could be an identification of the logo, the brand, or branding rather, knowing that you exist. Oh, I know, I've heard about them. That's sort of a soundbite. You're trying to move it to this stage where, okay, I've heard of them, rather than, right? So many filler words, I'm sorry. We're looking at that context of awareness. They can at least know that you're available locally. They know that somewhere, it's you. It could be your brand, it could be your company, it could be your product. Again, it could be some form of recall. Repetition moves from unawareness to awareness. Let me repeat it again. Repetition helps your audience, your target audience, target market, move from unawareness to awareness. From awareness, the second phase, you want to move your target audience to acceptance. I know that you exist, but I still know, I haven't accepted it internally. It's not internalized. I know it's somewhere there. If I see it, I see it. If I don't, I don't. Okay? Because this phase, just awareness alone will not help your cause. It will not translate purely to any form of revenue. So you want acceptance. Acceptance that, okay, if I go to a supermarket, when it comes to ice cream, oh, you are here. I accept that you exist. I am curious about what you have to offer. I'm curious about your taste. I'm curious about the experience. I'm curious about how you can help solve my problem. Here you might need a form of demonstration. You may need a form, again, at promotion. Getting your target audience to try out will move them from acceptance towards preference. They know you exist. They prefer to go for you. Okay? They prefer yours over the other competition. So looking at, again, let me repeat the stages so far. From the state of unawareness to a state of awareness. From the state of awareness to the state of acceptance. The state of acceptance to the state of, or the stage of preference. From the state of preference, they know within a particular category, given the different choices they have, yours stand out. The final phase, in the first introduction, if you will, is insistence. So even though within this category of say pasta or ice cream, I am presented with multiple options. I recognize a few. I insist on having yours, and it is translated in a form of action. How? This is where the bottom line is affected. This is where you will start to see revenue. This is where you can consider the first half of sorts, the first 5 stages, the first half being successful. Meaning that given all these options, whether it's milk, whether it's cars, whether it's petrol, whether it's fast moving consumer goods, whether it's a form of consultancy service, I choose this particular product or company. I go, I pay, I issue payment. That is the insistence compared to preference. Preference, oh, I want them, but I haven't committed yet. But insistence is when I commit and I take action, and that's where transaction happens. That's the first half, if you will, of the whole journey. There's the sixth one, remember? What is the sixth phase? The sixth phase is your after sales. Meaning, okay, I have this, and then what? This sixth phase or sixth stage will impact or influence whether or not, or whether I will go forward and purchase again what I have bought from you. Will I become your repeat customer? If I am unsatisfied, chances are no, I will not. And if, especially in today's age of social media, if I'm not happy at all, I could tell my friends, my family, my contacts to avoid that product like a plague. And when you have enough, again, talking about social media, it could explode into a publicity nightmare. I would like to invite you to recall in the 2000s. This is a favorite story of mine whenever I'm sharing with, whenever it comes to social media, whenever it comes to conversation. The case study of Dell Hell, where one particular customer wasn't so happy, was unhappy, was upset with the treatment of the after-sales treatment from Dell, the computer. So happened that his dissatisfaction resonated with a multitude of others, and it exploded to the point where Michael Dell himself had to intervene. And this case study is something that we see over and over and over again on social media, throughout markets, throughout jurisdictions. It happened with, I'm sure you can recall, recall one company or product or brand that you support once upon a time, but now hate because of something, whether it's directly or indirectly affected. That is, especially when it's controlled by customer service or after sales service or experience. Another example of escalating issue was the once upon a time, if you can remember, how people avoided soft drinks, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and the like. They moved from sugary drinks to healthier drinks. And it prompted a campaign on part of the manufacturers to assert that, look, communicate differently. Number one is either refute the claims, fix the process, but it prompted action because of the negative publicity. So word of mouth, especially enabled by digital communication, WhatsApp, Facebook, and all these platforms, allows isolated voices to come together and converge and impact a reputation, resulting in crisis. Now, I'm talking about the bad end of the spectrum. I know I digress quite a lot, But coming back, there are 6 particular stages that you're trying to bring your customers or potential customers through. And just because you've managed to close a repeat, you've created a tribe around that particular product or brand, it doesn't mean that that's the end. In fact, I would like to use Apple as a good example. Look at how Apple continues to bring its target audience, its market, throughout all 6 stages over the last 20 or so years. From the first Apple product to the iPhone, and iPhone's first iPhone until I don't know which version it is now. It's almost 2020. Even though Apple has its tribe of supporters, look at how they communicate, how they deploy communication at different stages. Those who are unaware of, say, whatever target exhibit A, those who are unaware of the latest product, those who are aware but indifferent, those who are curious, those who would like but cannot commit, those who have purchased, those who are experiencing, and even in that bad example, in the example I told you earlier on, those who are negative towards it. So different phases, different stages requires different form of communication, different language, different content, if you will. Why? Because someone who has an iPhone, for instance, would be more aware of the functions within compared to one who is devoted to, say, a BlackBerry, or someone leaving the BlackBerry bandwagon for the next gadget to replace, right? So even for companies that are established, the cycle continues over and over again because, number one, generational changes. I mean, my favorite ice cream hasn't stopped promoting itself to the target audience here in Malaysia. I love Paddle Pop. It's my childhood ice cream. Given a choice, besides being cheap, but again, nostalgia comes in. It's only RM1. That's about a quarter US or an American quarter or so. But I'm in my 30s. Okay? They are my peers who are with kids and would like to share the experience. So Walls would like to communicate to them differently than to me, who rely entirely on nostalgia. And Walls will not only rely on one product. And if you run a business, you know this very well. You wouldn't rely on a single product. You will have multiple products. So different, that's the first one, generation. Second, I mentioned earlier on, multiple products. A brand, for example, let's take Shell or Petronas. Here in Malaysia, they are among the big, they sell to consumers. Shell, Petronas, Petron, BHP, Exxon, or was it Esso? I can't remember. Anyway, so once upon a time there was leaded and unleaded petrol, of course, that moved to diesel or normal petrol. Then within the petrol category, you have RON 95, RON 97, and recently there's RON 100. What's the USP for different items? How are they promoting? How are they raising awareness? To whom? So even internally within the market that supports, within the tribe, the cycle continues. It doesn't end. It's not to galvanize on existing market share, but it's more of a set. It's moving towards how to integrate it, right? How to choose the right product at the right time within a customer's lifestyle or a client's lifestyle, so that the whole thing becomes complementary rather than competing. That is what Apple is doing. I mean, come on. If it pushes too hard on, it's not cheap. Let's face it. An Apple Watch and an Apple TV and Apple iPhone are not cheap. But how would Apple package it? It becomes a seamless experience. It ended products that are redundant. I mean, let's look at the iPod once upon a time. iPod and iPhone, okay, works back then, but I am yet to see an iPod today. That's because, again, innovation has allowed the current product to replace the functions of other products. And how does Apple position itself? It's a lifestyle. It changes lifestyle rather than the specs. There are tons of that. I'm not going to go into that. Okay. So for a small business, for a startup, for a medium business that plans to expand, for a charity or a charitable organization, how would all this come to play in your field? That is a question that I would like to leave you with. Thank you very much for watching this 15-minute video. I hope you have a great day. It is the end of 2019. I would like to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Have an awesome 2020.